Hello, the subject of this video is to show how to calculate forecasts starting by identifying if a data set of a particular demand contains seasonality or not. Depending on this issue, there are the calculations that we need to do to calculate the full forecast. Let's see the data that we have and let's see what is the methodology that we can follow in order to calculate the forecast. A forecast is basically an estimation of the future demand. One of the things that we need to know right now is what happened in the past. Based on the past, we can predict the future, or we try to predict the future. Therefore, here in this case, what we have is basically a small data set for a particular demand. In this case, the product is toilet paper. This is very important right now, given the circumstances of the coronavirus contingency. We have here the toilet paper demand in a specific market, given by thousands of units, and we have here also the times or the period that we're considering. In this case, the period goes by quarters, 3 months, and we have 2 years of data. The question for the production manager is how much is going to be the demand for the first quarter of the 2020 year. If we graph all this data, what we obtain is this figure, this shape, in which we can see some increasing certain tendency, probably. And what we need to know is in here, in this first, what is going to be the demand. So we can calculate and we can estimate the needs of resources. For instance, how many people we need. What is the material that we need to buy? What is it is enough with the machines that we have? Do we need to buy another machines? All those information is provided by the forecast. A forecast for any period I, is not or is the combination of seasonality and tendency. Seasonality, and we understand seasonality as any variation that depends on the time of the year. It can be months, it can be quarters, like in this case. And basically we're looking for peaks, valleys, or if we have none of this, we have non-seasonality. That means that it's stable. The other component for the forecasting is tendency, variations from other factors, such as the increase of the market, the state of the economy, the technology, changes of the technology, and so on and so forth. Basically, we have different combinations that can show no tendency, in this case stable, an increasing rate, or a decreasing rate on the tendency throughout the years. So let's start with this topic, with the seasonality calculations. Using this same set of data, like we show here, to identify if there is seasonality or not, we follow this methodology. First, we identify the demand has a seasonal behavior. How do we do it? By making this arrangement. Take a look. The first column, we have the periods, in this case, first, second, third, fourth quarter. It can be months, it can be months, it can be weeks, it can be any type of period that we have. On the following columns, what we include in this matrix is all the years that we have. In this case, we have 2 years, so we paste 2018, 2019 with their corresponding demand. Next step, we're going to calculate, I'm going to erase all this so we can do it right now. We are going to calculate the average per period. Each period has a specific performance, so what we're going to do is using the formula of the function in Excel, average or promedio in Spanish, to calculate the average demand per period. 1432, which is the first period, we copy and paste the formula so we can have the same calculations for the following periods. The final period, fourth, the average is 1845. Once we have done that, the next step is calculate the big average. In other words, the average of the average. Promedio, in Spanish, like in my case, or average, if your Excel is in English. And we have the big average. In this case, 1531.75. What we're going to do with those data is to see if there is a significant difference from the big average to each and one and each of the periods. This is done by dividing the average per period divided by the big average. We do the formula. Remember, if we are using Excel, what we do is to fix the cell so we can make the calculations, copy and paste. So it's 1432 divided by 1531. This gives us a result of 93.49. We leave it at 4 decimals, and we copy and paste this formula so we can calculate the following indexes. These numbers that we are obtaining here are basically the season index, el índice de estacionalidad. Finally, to identify if there is seasonality or not, what we do is to compare this season index versus some benchmark, some limits. Those limits are they are set up by forecasters, by planners, and they always depend on the experience, the sector, and so on and so forth. So there is no actually a standard on those. For our courses and for our purposes, what we're going to have is 1.1 and 0.9. So, in other words, if we have a difference bigger than 10% of the average, that means that we have seasonality. So, how do we do it? We can do it manually, or we can do it within Excel. In this case, in our example that we have here, it's easy to make it manually. However, if we have more data, it's not that easy. So, I recommend that you use Excel so that they automatically, that is done by Excel and helps you out with the decision. What we use is the function if, or si in Spanish. We compare the season index of each period versus all the numbers. First, we're going to make it the comparison versus the 1.1. If they are bigger than 1.1, that means that we have a peak. If not, there are two other choices. If this season index is smaller than 0.9, that means that we have a valley. If not, if we have no peak or no valley, that means that we have no seasonality. So basically what we do here is if season index is bigger than 1.1, then write peak. If season index is smaller than 0.9, writes valley. If that's not either the case, means that it's stable, has no seasonality. And yes, as you can see, the first one is bigger than 0.9 and smaller than 1.1, so that means that there's no seasonality. We copy and paste this formula and take a look. The last one, the last period, creates a peak. So basically, with only one peak or valley, on at least once, we can say, like in this case, there is seasonality. So we have to consider those. We already have the season index. We're going to need those for the next calculations for each and every one of the forecasting techniques. But so far, we have the result that we need. Now, to review or to summarize. First, what we need is the data, times, and the demands. Second, we arrange them in periods per year. This is first column periods. The following columns are the years. We calculate the average per period. Later, a big average, which is the average of the averages. Followed by the season index, which is basically the calculation between the average per period divided by the big average of the whole data set. And based on the season index, we can compare them with the limits and identify if there are some behavior that led us to define that is seasonality. Like in this case, we have found peak, one peak. That means that indeed there is seasonality in this data set. Next, we have the forecasting using moving average from this set of data. Thank you.